Hello everyone, welcome to today's show. My name is Spencer Walsh. We got a great one for you today, as always. Here is what we got today. Five things from the New York primaries today that you need to know. We got that for you on today's show. We have a new report saying the FDA targeting vaping is now allowed by teenage youth. We'll shed some light on what's going on right there in the way only Newsflash can. Also today, there are now more migrant children in detention. There are more children in migrant detention, than ever before. Some sources say that, or we really have good sources, I should clarify, that say that Andrew Cuomo signed off on Cynthia Nixon anti-Semitism campaign mailer. 7 NYPD officers have been arrested in a gambling and prostitution ring. And finally, the brother of Laura Ingraham says she's becoming a full-blown racist monster. Fox News, so I would say that one for last. All right, so first, though, the Food and Drug Administration on Wednesday declared that the teenage use of electronic cigarettes has reached an epidemic proportion. And it put makers of the most popular device on notice that they have just 60 days to prove that they can keep their devices away from minors. The order was part of a sweeping government action that targeted both makers and sellers of e-cigarettes. If Juul Labs and 4 other major manufacturers failed to halt sales to minors, the agency said it could remove their flavored products from the market. So yeah, if they stop those sales to minors, they could be, if they don't stop them anyway, because a lot of minors are buying them. That's just the truth there. They could be taken off the market. So the agency said it was sending warning letters to 1,100 retailers, including 7-Eleven stores, Walgreens, Circle K convenience shops, and Shell gas stations, and issued another 131 fines, ranging from $279 to $1,182 from selling cigarettes to minors. So yeah, that was the warning letters they're sending to 1,100. I don't know if it's like branches of those stores or 1,100 separate name brand stores. So it's all separate name brand stores. So yeah, I wonder if it's the one that is in my town is on this list. Yeah, it's very interesting. So yeah, pretty much there's all these wrap vapes. My e-cigs are mixed in with places like Mobile Mart, Stop and Save. It's all those places that are all very well known in let's see, civil penalty monies. There's a whole bunch of there's a whole bunch of lists of people who or stores. Some of them you may even recognize if you're of the right age that have done this kind of thing. So that's pretty much what's going on right there. So they're sending out things, they're sending out fines. It's just kind of as a warning fine, but you get a sense they're definitely going to take real action sometime very near in the future if things don't improve. So yeah, federal law prohibits selling e-cigarettes to anyone under 18 or vaping devices of any kind. In a briefing with reporters, the FDA Commissioner Dr. Scott Gottlieb said that more than 2 million middle school and high school students were regular users of e-cigarettes last year, which is quite an alarmingly high number, especially if you combine middle with high school. The fact that you're using it in middle school is just, ugh. I mean, not to say that high school is understandable, but middle school, wow. So the government's tactics underscore a dilemma in the public health community in addressing one public health problem, cigarette smoking, which kills 480,000 people in the United States each year. E-cigarettes are getting another, hooking teenagers who have never smoked on nicotine. So yeah, it's supposed to be, things like Juul are supposed to be kind of like a niche market for people who have already smoked. Like these are supposed to be like for adult smokers, is how they're branded. That's what it says on the box. It says for adult smokers, but sometimes, far too often, people can, especially young kids, can hear about it, and the trend begins, and then it spreads and spreads and spreads. So, e-cigarettes users, and by the way, this reporting here is from the New York Times, and I just say that 2 million number seems a lit, considering there are 328 million people in America, and 2 million number seems incredibly low. I'm going to be honest there. In particular, the agency has been watching the widely popular Juul, which offers especially potent nicotine hits. Juul Labs launched the sleek device, which looks like a flash drive in 2015. This Juul comes with pods in 8 flavors, mango, menthol, creme. In a short time, Juul has become the dominant seller of e-cigarettes and fat among students. According to Nielsen data, Juul controls 72% of the market. I mean, there are definitely other vaping devices out there, but pretty much all you see these days, if you're in high school, which, like, you know, I am, is Juul. It's a very, very popular thing. And I mean, I really don't know how, because if Juul sells their, like, there's no store that's like the Juul store, like the Apple store. Like, there's no store that Juul, like, owns. And, like, I'm sure from now on, like, the people on the warning letters will not be receiving FDA products, but the FDA warning letter, the FDA warning letters will not be getting Juul products. But, like, there's a lot more out there, and a lot more stores that Juul does not control that are definitely going to keep going with this, because it makes them a lot more money than just keeping Juul in their store and selling only to minors, or not only to people of age, because it's a very profitable. Like, if you open up the market to minors, then you can. There's definitely the chance that you can make a lot more financial gain than if you just sell to people of age there. So yeah, that is definitely very, very interesting there, to say the least. Yeah. So, in an email statement, Juul spokeswoman said, Juul Labs will work proactively with the FDA in response to its request. We are committed to preventing the underage use of the product, but we want to be part of the solution in keeping e-cigarettes out of the hands of young people. Dr. Gottlieb said the FDA would look closely at whether the Juul and other manufacturers were allowing bulk purchases of products through their website, a practice where the buyer could sell them to minors. So yeah, their own websites could be a little bit of a problem. So, like, if you go to Juul, I don't know, Juul.com. I think that's what it is. Yeah. And it looks like so I'm saying the moment I come on, I am 21 plus and agree to be age verified. I am not above 21. Yeah. So that is pretty much the entire situation. But, like, the majority of people aren't going to walk into Juul stores. I understand now. Like, it looks like it's something that, if, like, let's see, shop. Like, I go to shop here just as kind of a little bit of a live test. And I go to, what is it, starter kit, and then $49.99, add one item to cart, and then proceed to checkout. I don't want to do this, but I feel like it's going to ship. And then it says you need to sign up before continuing, but that's the farthest I'm going to go. Anyway, so pretty much the point is, like, there really are not very many people who are likely just going to log on to Juul.com and buy Juuls when there's so many other ways to get it. There's people selling them. I think they're sold on, like, other online spots, like online vape stores, because there's a lot of people going around different places where you just definitely don't see them every day. Yeah, so if such straw sales are happening, it should be readily apparent to manufacturers, he said. If the companies don't know or they don't want to know, we'll now be helping to identify for them. It seems a little bit like, yeah. The other 4 products facing the 60-day deadline are RJ Vapor Co., Fuse, and Imperial Brands Blue, and devices made by Logic. They said they were working with FDA as well. I don't think those even put nicotine in them, but I'm not sure there. They've changed since the days of Joe Camel, Dr. Gottlieb said. But look at what's happening right now on our watch and on their watch. They must demonstrate that they're truly committed to keeping the new products out of the hands of kids. Yes, that's pretty much what it is. Dr. Gottlieb has said many times he believes e-cigarettes and similar products similar products known as electronic nicotine delivery system may be effective options for adults who want to stop smoking but still crave nicotine. But he said teenage vaping has become so concerning that regulators may have to curb the availability of devices to keep them out of the hands of youth. But Juul and all that stuff is going to be very interesting to watch how that plays out. Definitely very interesting to see what they do in terms of regulation there, because there is pretty much the point is there is a lot of other ways you can get Juul, so it'd be interesting to see if they can catch on to that too. Because like if you regulate the Juul stores, I just don't know if that's going to be enough. And just only some, like mini marts, people get them at, and a lot of other places. So it's definitely going to be a little tough, to say the least. But yeah, so hopefully they can get rid of this epidemic, because it is, trust me, it's an epidemic. I really think it'll be an interesting subject for possibly more here on the more exploration in depth of the Spencer Walsh Radio Network. All right, so now, even after the release of hundreds of children separated from their parents under President Trump's zero-tolerance border policy, there are still more migrant children in detention than at any other time in our country's history, according to the New York Times. There are 5 times as many children in detention as there were last summer, bringing the total number to 12,800. The data collected by the Times shows that the high numbers are not the result of the greater number of children entering the U.S., but fewer children being released to live with their relatives or sponsors. Another recent investigation into a youth migrant shelter in Chicago by ProPublica Illinois found that some potential sponsors are hesitant to work with the government now that there is a rule requiring every member of the household to be fingerprinted, possibly endangering some undocumented people living in those households. Yeah, so it just seems like that just seems like it's not very fun, because like if you even want to just try and do anything, if you want to try and get a job, trying to work with the government, it's going to be very, very tough. That's just to say the least. The report showed that the longer children are kept in shelters, the worse their psychological symptoms become, sometimes triggering suicidal thoughts or escape attempts, which is very, very dangerous. These shelters can be very isolating for children. Like, if you were put in a jail for no reason, if you weren't like a hardened criminal by the time you're a kid, and you're put in what is essentially a jail, it could be very, very tough. You think they got good treatment options for that in place for these kids? You really think they got no? Like, the kids there are not really. They're not doing great. They're not doing great. They're having a tough time of it there, which it really, really sucks. The report showed that the longer children kept in shelters, again, what makes sense here, the obvious logical option, is the fact that, it's going to get to a point where things are very dangerous. So many of the children in custody are teenagers escaping violence in Central America who cross the border on their own, according to data. According to data, which members of Congress share with the Times, it seems that Trump's efforts to use a zero-tolerance policy to discourage migrants from crossing the border with their children isn't working. The same number of children are crossing the border as in previous years. So, can we stop it now? Can we please stop it now and find a way to get these people in safely and humanely? Maybe that would possibly work for violence in Central America. If we have that problem, what we should try and do is get these people in safely and humanely, vet them, figure out who they are, trial period, whatever. Just whatever. If you want to come in under trial period, that's great. If you want to, and that would be your only option. And what you want to do is just come in, just find a way, get a chance so you can prove yourself before you're deported. That would be nice. But it just seems like no one actually wants to have that or do that kind of thing, because it just seems to be, I don't know, just too unpopular at this point. But I don't know. It just seems like there is just such a better way we could be doing this, because the thing with conservative policy is not only is it inhumane, not only is it cruel, but it just doesn't even. Not only is it just wrongheaded and immoral in and of itself, but it just doesn't achieve any of the goals that they or anyone else wants. No one wants. So what they do is, we need